President Donald Trump has proposed a new nuclear missile treaty that has potential to include India as he delivered the State of the Union address to a joint session of Congress. Defending his decisions to withdraw from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Force or the INF treaty with Russia, he said in a speech Tuesday night, "Perhaps we can negotiate a different agreement adding China and others, or perhaps we can't, in which case we will outspend and out-innovate all others." The INF treaty, signed with President Ronald Reagan and Soviet Communist Party General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev, banned land-based missiles of 1,000 to 5,000 kilometers. Some of the Prithvi and Agni-class missiles in India's arsenal could fall under the ambit of such a treaty, as well as some of Pakistan's Babur, Shaheen and Garbi missiles. Trump defended his decision to withdraw from the INF treaty, saying Russia repeatedly violated its terms. His ceremonial speech, which has been postponed last month in the middle of the shutdown over the funding and budget for a border wall by the Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat, had called for unity across the political divide. It did not have any direct reference to India or region. The other matter of relevance to India was on trade, when he asked for the support of the Reciprocal Trade Act. If another country places an unfair tariff on an American product, we can charge them the same exact tariff on the same product that they sell to us, said Trump. So what do you think? India might want Trump or US for having India's banning the use of nuclear missiles and long-range missile system, which is the backbone of India's defense under any war or battle situations. And having a tit-for-tat tariff and taxation on Indian products will help US domestic influence, or it is a great ban for India's domestic influence. Once India's usually a low-profile space agency, ISRO, or the Indian Space Organization, suddenly had the spotlight pointed at it after the success of the Mangalyaan Mars mission. And since then it has been constantly in the news, launching a record of 104 satellites, testing the crew model on the biggest GSLV Mk3 rocket, testing the RLV or the reusable launch vehicle, and more recently about the Gaganyaan manned space mission to the moon. Now it intends to take on SpaceX, more specifically the company's Falcon 9 reusable rocket. According to the report in Times of India, the agency is now focusing on the reusable rockets. The ISRO may be doing this to cut down on launch cost further. ISRO is also looking to test the vertical takeoff and the vertical landing, or the VTVL technologies, in what it is called as Admire Test Vehicle. According to ISRO's Dr. B.N. Suresh, the Admire Test Vehicle will prove the tech such as the retractable legs, retropropulsion, and steerable fins. These technologies will help in the vertical landing the rocket back near the launch pad. The rocket will use other indigenous technologies in its navigation receiver so that it can accurately land on the designated spot. Dr. Suresh also said a test and a landing site is being developed by ISRO for this purpose only. But this isn't the only reusable technology that ISRO is working on. Last year, the agency test launched an RLV demonstrator, a reusable launch vehicle, a winged spacecraft like NASA's. It is meant to be launched vertical and after injecting the payload into the orbit, come back to the base for landing like an airplane. The RLV is supposed to undergo another test with the craft being dropped from a plane to verify its landing ability. The reusable launch crafts are all rage these days because they not only reduce the cost of the launch stuff into the space but also allows for more frequent launches than the expendable rockets. So what do you think of ISRO gunning for Elon Musk's SpaceX Falcon 9, like a vertical landing reusable rocket? Will this be a biggest help for ISRO's Indian Space Research Organization, or this could be just a test flight before doing something with it. As India is moving US to the backseat, as India becomes the fastest growing country in last 5 years. In Geneva, India's air connectivity has grown the fastest in the last 5 years, and there is a strong strength and growth ahead in terms of domestic passenger numbers, though there are infrastructure challenges according to the global airlines body IATA, or the International Airport Transport Association. India is the fastest growing domestic aviation market in the world, and IATA's chief economist Brian Pierce said. The country registered double-digit growth in domestic aviation market for 50th consecutive month in October. An analysis by the International Airport Transport Association, or the IATA, showed that the air connectivity grew the fastest in 114% in the 5-year period from 2013 to 18. Many of the markets where connectivity has grown fastest, unsurprisingly, are in the Asia, India, China, and Indonesia, the grouping said in the presentation during the Global Media Day here in Geneva. As per the IATA, which is a grouping of around 290 airlines, connectivity is the extent to which a country is integrated into the global airport and transport network. In recent years, many foreign as well as the Indian carriers have commenced flight to and from various Indian cities. About domestic passenger growth, Pierce told that there is a strong growth ahead, but the challenges with infrastructure is that the airports are crowded. We needed more terminals and runway capacity. We have seen concessions for many airports leading to large rise in airport charges. On steps being taken in India to address the infrastructure issues, he said additionally capacity is being put in place and some very good modern airports being built, which is a real positive in 2005 to 2014. I think that the cost of using those airports is high. The peer said it is because the economic regulations have not been strong as we would have hoped, because the concession agreements were made with very large royalties. The lessons for the future is to provide good infrastructures because more is needed but at an affordable rate, he noted. IATA's director Hemant Mistry said the historical airport concessions have suffered from unduly long and arbitrary concession lengths. These can be for benefit of governments and the concessionary. We have seen many examples of very high concession fees where a large proportion of gross revenue of the airport is diverted to the government and not necessarily reinvested back into the aviation. According to him, there are also examples where concessions are negotiated with fixed pricing over the concession term, which risk a situation where the charges are not reflective of the service and infrastructure provided to the airlines and passengers. So what do you think of India pushing back US and China and becoming the fastest growing connectivity in airline services in the world? President Donald Trump alleged joke he could play a matchmaker for Prime Minister of India Mr. Narendra Modi after learning from aides that the 67-year-old Indian leader has long been estranged from his wife. According to a new report in Politico, the article detailed a long list of diplomatic faux pas that Trump has made with foreign leaders around the globe, including a lack of telephone etiquette, mispronunciations, and awkward meetings.
So we want fair trade deals. We want reciprocal trade deals. Scott Walker has a wonderful company called Harley Davidson in Wisconsin, right? Great. So when they send a motorcycle to India, as an example, they have to pay 100% tax, 100%. Now, the Prime Minister, who I think is a fantastic man, called me the other day. He said, we are lowering it to 50%. I said, okay, but so far we're getting nothing. So we get nothing, he gets 50 and they think we're doing, like they're doing us a favor. That's not a favor. And you know what I'm talking about. It's a great company.
Trump also displayed a lack of familiarity with South Asia, according to a report. Ahead of the meeting last year with Prime Minister Modi at the White House, Trump allegedly studied a map of South Asia and mispronounced Nepal as Nepal and referred to Bhutan as Bhutan, the Politico said, according to unnamed sources. The president seemed confused that the two countries which borders India even existed, said a new report. He didn't know what those were. He thought it was all part of India, a source told to Politico. Also, he was like, what is this stuff in between and these other countries? After Trump's staffers told the president that Prime Minister Modi would not bring his wife along to the meeting at the White House, Trump allegedly joked that, I think I can set him up with somebody else. The report said according to two people briefed on the meeting. White House spokesperson Sarah Huckabee Sanders told Politico that the Trump has developed strong relationship with America's closest allies, which allow for a candid conversation.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Donald.
Well, Justin, it's been really great, and I appreciate, Justin has agreed to cut all tariffs and all trade barriers between Canada and the United States. So I'm very happy
So
about
I'd say
that.
NAFTA's in good shape.
But we are actually working on it. We are actually working on it. But our relationship is very good. We are actually working on cutting tariffs and making it all very fair for both countries.
Although India and US relationship are basically sounded, things have been tense in recent months because of the clashes on the trade and the administration decision to cancel an important meetings of US Secretariats of Defense and State with their respective Indian counterparts. It is now scheduled for September 6, 2018. Prime Minister Modi has invited Trump to be the chief guest at the India's Republic Day military parade on 2019 January 26, but there is no word yet whether the president will accept. More or less, Trump of United States as a president won't come. So what do you think of the insults and the jokes about and mocking of Indian Prime Minister Modi by the President of US Mr. Donald Trump? Post your comments below. And if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and follow us on social networks and subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching. This is WEC Daily. Think big, think different. Bye.